phones were a big problem in India, even in the 80s when I was a kid visiting India, and this whole thing about having to book long-distance calls in advance.
Trunk calls.
Trunk calls. You have to call the government, make a reservation, like going
to STD, strangely
exactly.
enough.
So telephone calls were like Nobu. You had to kind of know people and call 5 days in advance.
Yeah.
And they cost a lot. So even our relatives, who by Indian standards were extremely prosperous people, would call us in America if they really needed to, and would just pay that first minute, and we would call them back, right? Now, fast forward to today, about half of Indians have a cell phone. Half of Indians, right? 2/3 of Indians live under $2 a day. So the cell phone has even made pretty significant inroads among people who fall below the UN's definition of extremely poor. I have seen on a number of occasions in India people with no shoes or flip-flops who have a phone. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need to ask the government for anything. You can walk. It is so much easier than it is in America. You can walk to a local corner store. Anybody can sell you a phone. Anybody next to them can sell you a SIM card, and you're ready to go. Here, it's almost going back to where India, I mean, that kind of AT&T and this and that, and you have to go.
Locked in for 2 years.
All of that. And that kind of empowerment is just one example. But the same thing is happening, you know, I remember a very grisly statistic that I came across. I put two statistics together. Even at the time that I moved to India in 2003, an Indian baby had a much higher chance at birth of dying before age 1 than of ever flying on an airplane. Think about that. So when you are seeing people, when you get on a domestic flight in India, right, more people, I mean, when you think of all the airports in India, all the people moving through the airports, more people have died between 0 and age 1 in India than are in all the airports moving around. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But that is moving now. All these airlines, all these new flights. You have, in a lot of these low-cost airlines, people, again, used to be government-controlled, now it's not. And the pilots, who are often American because they can't find enough pilots to keep up with the growth, will say, how do you know, they come on and do their like Texan thing in the front of the plane. And most of these Indians are totally bewildered by why people are doing like stand-up in the front of the plane. But they say, raise your hand if you haven't flown before. And I've been on flights where it's like half the people. What a powerful thing.
Yeah.